Good afternoon. You're watching the Midday News, where we get you the top developing news stories at the top of one. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Union Cabinet meets, approves the 100% FDI in single brand retail through automatic route. World Bank projects India's growth rate to 7.3% in 2018 and 7.5% for the next 2 years. Praises Modi government, says ambitious government undertaking comprehensive reforms. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to interact with leading economists, top cabinet ministers and bureaucrats at Niti Aayog ahead of the union budget to deliberate on the road ahead for the economic policy to steer the nation towards a new India. Prime Minister Modi to attend World Economic Forum in Switzerland will deliver the keynote address at the plenary session. First in visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the forum in 10 years. Modi likely to meet Donald Trump at the meet. And South Korean President Moon Jae-in credits US President Donald Trump for bringing the North and South Korea together for landmark talks. Praises the US and the international community for putting pressure on North Korea. The top story this hour: in a major policy decision, the Union Cabinet meeting headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has approved 100% FDI in single brand retail through automatic route. Now, till now, FDI up to 49% was permitted under the automatic route, but beyond that limit, government's approval was required. Now, the relaxation of the policy is aimed at providing an investor-friendly climate to foreign players and in turn attract more FDI to boost economic growth and create jobs. My colleague Panchanan Mishra is now joining us live. He is tracking all those developments very, very closely. Panchanan, now Union Cabinet approving 100% FDI in a single brand retail through automatic route. How much significance the decision has, and how much will it provide an investor-friendly climate to the foreign players?
Yeah, sure. It's a very significant step. Cabinet today met and it discussed various issues for 2 hours. And finally, the Cabinet approves the much-awaited FDI approval for 100% through automatic route in single brand retail. This decision was last year it was expected to take the decision, but the Cabinet today approved this policy. And it is expected to increase the further foreign investment activities. And as we are aware that Prime Minister is going for World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, which is going to be held from 23rd to 26th. He will be there and he will tell the world community that India is ready for the more investments, and there are more opportunities are here. And the many sectors are also opening for this single brand retail automatic route FDI 100%. Yes. Which also includes aviation, which is a very crucial sector. So many sectors are going to be benefited from this government policy. Aishwarya.
Absolutely. And Prime Minister Modi will also interact with leading economists and experts from across the country at Niti Aayog and deliberate on the economic policies.
Exactly. Government is also want to push the economy, and that's why we have seen in the couple of months that Prime Minister was regularly interacting with Niti Aayog, and today there is a very crucial and important meeting regarding he is meeting to all major economists and also the various experts from other sectors. And the idea is that how to improve, how to get the chances of jobs and the growth for the overall the country. And the meeting, the agenda of Davos is also looking to be seen in this current meeting, because many things will be taken from here to Davos, and it is very important to see how the things unfolded in this meeting.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those updates there. So as Panchanan was telling us that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with the leading economists and experts from across the country at Niti Aayog today. Now, the select group of economists and sector experts have been invited by Niti Aayog for the deliberations with the Prime Minister on economic policy, the road ahead. The discussion will focus on 6 broad themes of macroeconomic balances, agriculture and rural development, urban development, infrastructure and connectivity, employment, manufacturing and exports, and health and education. The interaction is aimed at sharing the views of the experts from all over the country on the road ahead for the economic policy to steer the nation towards a new India. The meeting will also be attended by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari, Agriculture Minister Radha Mohan Singh, Minister of State for Planning Rao Inderjeet Singh, along with the Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog, members and CEO of Niti Aayog and senior officials from the government. And good news for Indian economy, because the World Bank has said that India has enormous growth potential compared to other emerging economies of the world. The World Bank has projected India's growth rate to 7.3% in 2018 and 7.5% in the next 2 years. In its 2018 Global Economics Prospect that was released on Tuesday. Now, in comparison with China, which is slowing, the World Bank is expecting India to gradually accelerate. The World Bank praised the Modi government, saying that India has an ambitious government undertaking comprehensive reforms and the government is well aware of their short-term implications. The 2018 Global Economics Prospect also says that despite initial setbacks from demonetization and the rollout of the goods and services tax, India is estimated to have grown at 6.7% in 2017. Now, Ahin Kose, the director of a World Bank's Development Prospects Group, said that the growth numbers of the past 3 years were very healthy. Kose also said that to materialize its potential, India needs to take steps to boost investment prospects. Meanwhile, the World Bank has forecast the global economy to edge up to 3.1% in 2018, expressing concern for the future growth potential of the world economy. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the keynote address at the plenary session of the World Economic Forum in Davos on 23rd of January. Now, Commerce Minister Suresh Prabhu declared the government's agenda and participation at the forthcoming annual meeting of the World Economic Forum. Now, the theme of this year's WEF is creating a shared future in a fractured world. The annual meeting will be attended by 350 political leaders, chairs and chief executive officers of the world's most important companies and over 1,000 leaders from among other walks of life. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be the first Indian Prime Minister to attend the annual meeting of the WEF since 1997.
Prime Minister goes there, like the Chinese president went there last year. You will see a complete buzz around that and people will realize and they will like to listen to him. It will definitely help India to get inbound investment. It will also help India to portray a genuine, real profile of India into a right perspective. So this is very important. But Prime Minister, being a global leader, has been most sought after and people have been inviting him.
And US President Donald Trump will also attend the World Economic Forum in Davos later this month, opening up a distinct possibility of a meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, according to the White House, details of Donald Trump's trip to Davos, including bilateral meetings, are being worked out. Now, this will be the first time in 18 years that a US president would be attending an annual gathering of global economic leaders. And World Economic Forum's founder chairman Klaus Schwab has praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi's policy of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. In an article ahead of the WEF annual meeting in Davos, Schwab said that India presents an image of promise. He also said that the remarkable pace of bold and structural reforms have boosted India's macroeconomic fundamentals while enhancing long-term economic outlook. Schwab noted that India is expanding its leadership in a wide range of global initiatives. He said that India's leading role at the Paris Climate Agreement and International Solar Alliance and efforts to become a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council and the Nuclear Suppliers Group demonstrate a quest for a more pivotal role in global geopolitics. Schwab also expressed delight at hosting Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the annual summit of the WEF. On to some other news now. The Supreme Court has asked Jay Prakash Associates Limited to file a list of its ongoing housing projects in the country. The Supreme Court has ordered creation of a portal for registering the grievances of home buyers of the Realty Group. The Apex Court has reiterated its direction, reinstating the directors of Jay Prakash Associates Limited from alienating their personal properties. The Supreme Court has said that it would later deal with the RBI's plea seeking it not to remove NCLT to initiate insolvency proceedings against Jay Prakash Associates Limited. My colleague Ravindra Singh Shuran is now joining us on the phone line for an analysis of this. Ravindra, now the Supreme Court is asking Jay Prakash Associates Limited to file a list of its ongoing housing projects. And this after RBI is already looking to start, insolvency proceedings against the infrastructure major. So how do we look at these fresh developments?
Yeah, Aishwarya, today also the Supreme Court has made it clear that the JP Infrastructure Limited, they should come up with all the pending projects which they are going on across length and breadth of the country. They should come up with a list of all these projects and also restrain the directors of the JPL to go abroad without the permission of the court. Also, the court had made it clear that once the list will be out, then they will, the home buyers are in this position to come up with their grievances so that court can look into the nuisance of the whole matter. Also, when the RBI approached the NCLT for the National Company Law Tribunal for insolvency and bankruptcy of this JP Infrastructure, then it was made clear by the Supreme Court when the petitioner reached to the Supreme Court that they cannot do so, as a lot of the money, the hard-earned money of the home buyers is in the process, is in the problem if this company has been given insolvency.
Right.
And the court had also asked the infrastructure to hand over the records of the interim resolution professional to draft a resolution plan indicating protection of interest of our 32,000 hassled home buyers and creditors also. Also today, the advocates of the JPL, they have also said that the JPL is already in the process of selling some of the properties, and some loan restructuring deal is also going on with some of the banks.
Right.
So JL already has deposited more than 400 crores of rupees in the registry so far. Aishwarya.
All right. Thank you so much, Ravindra, for all those updates there. And on to some other news. Addressing the PIO Parliamentarians Conference today, President Ram Nath Kovind said that the Indian community settled abroad has climbed to appreciable heights and has contributed to the countries by enriching their economy. The first ever PIO Parliamentarians Conference was inaugurated by the Prime Minister on Tuesday. So let's listen in to what President Ram Nath Kovind said today.
Members of the Indian diaspora work hard on farms in countries as far apart as Italy, Bolivia, and Tanzania. They are instrumental to the tech startup ecosystem of Silicon Valley. They form the backbone of the economy of Dubai and other major business cities in the Gulf region. The global financial centers of New York, London, and Singapore would simply not be the same without the Indian diaspora.
An Inter-Ministerial Committee will meet on 19th of January to take a final call on the playing of the national anthem in cinema halls and recommend changes in the existing laws if needed. The 12-member committee will have a joint secretary-level officers from 11 ministries, and it will submit its report in 6 months. Remember, the Supreme Court on Tuesday made the playing of the national anthem in cinema halls optional, saying that the 12-member interministerial committee set up by the centre would take a final call on the issue. The Supreme Court accepted the government affidavit that says that the committee will suggest changes in the Prevention of Insults to the National Honour Act. The Apex Court modified its 30th of November 2016 order, which made playing the national anthem mandatory in cinema halls. The order was passed by a 3-judge bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra.
Government has already clarified before the court that a committee has been constituted which will go into details into the whole aspect of the matter. And thereafter the government will come to the Supreme Court. We have come about issues of our Divyangs, elderly people who cannot stand up. They were having problems. And a variety of other issues has come. What is important is our commitment to national anthem is complete.
And today is the last day for filing of nominations for the upcoming Lok Sabha and Assembly by-elections. The by-election will be held on 29th of January to fill the vacancies in Lok Sabha. Polling will be held for Rajasthan's Ajmer and Alwar constituencies and West Bengal's Uluberia. And by-elections will be held to fill one casual vacancy each in the state assemblies of Rajasthan and West Bengal. Polling will take place on 29th of January for the by-polls in Rajasthan's Mandagar seat and Naupura constituency in West Bengal, and counting of votes for both the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly by-polls will be held on 1st of February. And Foreign Minister of Maldives, Mohammed Asim, arrived in New Delhi this morning on a 3-day visit to the country. Mohammed Asim will hold talks with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on Thursday and discuss key bilateral issues. Mohammed Asim will also call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday. Maldives' Foreign Minister is visiting as a special envoy of the Maldives President amid reports of Maldives signing a free trade agreement with China. The Ministry of External Affairs had said last month that India expects that as a close and friendly neighbour, the island nation will be sensitive to its concern in keeping with its India First policy. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu will begin his 10-day tour to Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka today. In Andhra Pradesh, the Vice President will visit Tirupati and Nellore. In Tamil Nadu, Vice President will visit Chennai and Thiruvenkadu. On the last leg of the tour, the Vice President will visit Bengaluru. Let's get you all the weather updates. And the cold wave sweeping North India continues to tighten its grip in the region, and dense fog forced the Indian Railways to cancel 22 trains and reschedule another 8. It also delayed 45 northbound trains. Now, Delhi recorded the season's lowest minimum temperature at 4.2 degrees Celsius on Tuesday, which is 3 notches below average. Meanwhile, in Uttar Pradesh, the day temperature fell markedly in Bareilly division. The lowest minimum temperature in the state was in Meerut at 2.9 degrees Celsius. Biting cold conditions also persisted in parts of Himachal Pradesh, with the minimum temperature in the hills ranging between -13 and -20 degrees Celsius. Also in Bihar, Bhagalpur was the coldest at 4 degrees Celsius, which was 8 notches below normal. Punjab, Haryana and Chandigarh remained under the grip of intense cold conditions. Narnaul recorded the lowest minimum temperature in the state at 0.2 degrees Celsius. The minimum temperature remained up to 5 degrees below normal in parts of Haryana and Punjab. And the 2-day-long 18th All India Whips Conference concluded in Udaipur on Tuesday. 10 recommendations regarding reforms in legislatures and parliament were discussed and also adopted unanimously by the conference. Here are the details. 10 recommendations were adopted unanimously in the concluding session of the 18th All India Whips Conference in Udaipur on Tuesday. The recommendations included reform of 0 hour for prompt reply and action taken report from concerned ministry, developing the concept of committee hour for discussing reports of various committees by the legislatures, reforms in the structure of private members' business, legislative framework for more working days in both union and state legislatures, infrastructural and institutional support to chief whips for better coordination and functioning of legislatures and parliament, digitization of the secretariats of the state legislatures, consensus building in the legislatures for not going to the well of the House by the members. The follow-up action on the recommendations made by the conference will be taken by Union Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs.
तो छोटे दल हैं, उनको हाउस में ज्यादा बोलने को मिलता है। मेरा ऐसा अनुभव है, जैसे उसको 3 मिनट का टाइम है ना, वो 3 मिनट में चुप नहीं रहता ना, वो 10 मिनट 15 मिनट बोलते ही हैं। तो छोटे दल को ज्यादा अधिकार मिलता है। इनका यहाँ कहना था कि ये प्रणाली है, स्पीकर तय करती है, बीजेपी इतना मिनट, कांग्रेस इतना मिनट, एज पर द नंबर ऑफ द इन द हाउस। उनका ये कहना था कि ये प्रणाली खत्म हो, लेकिन प्रैक्टिकली उनको समय ज्यादा मिलता है, सत्ता पक्ष को कम मिलता है, क्योंकि सिस्टम यही है कि हाउस बिलोंग्स टू ए अपोजिशन।
For upgrading skills of lawmakers, the conference also pitched for developing the Bureau of Parliamentary Studies and Training as a national academy for training. The conference expressed desire to embrace e-Vidhan to enable state legislators to become paperless, productive and accountable to the citizens and economize the entire legislative process. The two-day meet hosted around 90 delegates from the centre and 19 states and was inaugurated by Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Anant Kumar on Monday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. In the Westminster's Magistrate Court will resume hearing on the extradition case against Vijay Mallya on Thursday. Mallya is wanted in India on allegations of financial irregularities amounting to nearly 9,000 crore rupees. In its last hearing on 14th of December last year, the court had sought more details from the lawyers representing India about the conditions in Mumbai's Arthur Road jail, where he will be lodged if extradited. The prosecution and defence sides were also slated to submit closing statements by last week, and on Thursday the court is likely to give a ruling on the admissibility of some documents also submitted by the Indian government. And South Korean President Moon Jae-in has credited his US counterpart Donald Trump with making a huge contribution to bringing the North and South Korea together for landmark talks. At a press conference in Seoul on Wednesday, Moon praised the US and the international community for putting pressure on North Korea. Moon added that he would be willing to sit down with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in the future, but would not have a meeting for the sake of a meeting. He called on Pyongyang to move towards denuclearization. South Korean president's statement came after Donald Trump himself took credit for creating the right conditions for a dialogue. In a tweet, he said that there would have been no talks if he wasn't firm and willing to commit US's total might against the North. On Tuesday, following a long day of negotiations at the demilitarized zone between the two Koreas, Pyongyang agreed to send a delegation to next month's Winter Olympics and to hold military talks with Seoul to ease tensions.
남북 관계 개선과 북핵 문제 해결이 필요하다면 저는 정상회담을 필요해서 어떠한 만남도 열어두고 있습니다. 그러나 회담을 위한 회담이 목표일 수는 없습니다.
News from Pakistan, where 7 people were killed and 23 others were wounded on Tuesday when a bomb went off in the center of the Pakistani city of Quetta, capital of the province of Balochistan. The blast targeted a police truck on Zargon Road, which is close to a high-security area where the Provincial Assembly and other government offices are located. Police said that a suicide bomber walked up to the truck and blew himself up. The attack was later claimed by Tehreek-e-Taliban. The bodies of 5 policemen and 2 civilians as well as wounded victims were brought to the civil hospital. Some of the injured are in a serious condition. Pakistan Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi condemned the terrorist attack targeting security personnel. Remember, Quetta has been at the center of recent violence in Pakistan. Last month, at least 8 people were killed and dozens were wounded in a suicide and a gun attack on a church in Quetta. And the blast in Quetta came hours after Balochistan Chief Minister Nawab Salahuddin Zehri resigned on Tuesday. This after Pakistan Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi failed to resolve a political crisis in Pakistan's biggest province. Balochistan lawmakers had expressed a lack of confidence in the Chief Minister, citing unfulfilled commitments, while key ministers and advisors had turned dissidents, sparking a series of resignations and sackings. Now, Abbasi is said to have advised Zeri to resign after Baloch opposition leaders rejected his invitation for a meeting, during which he was expected to attempt garnering some support for the beleaguered Chief Minister. The opposition was expected to table a no-confidence motion against Zeri in the Provincial Assembly. And that's it from me and my team in this edition of Midday News. But news and updates continue on Rajya Sabha television. Thanks for watching.